G.Skill Information here, bringing you another tutorial on object placement. Here you see in front of you a level that we created in tutorial 2 and 3. In tutorial 2 we started the new map, and in tutorial 3 we started the land. So now I'm going to show you how to place objects. This is relatively simple, and there are many ways to do it, but the most common way of doing it, ignore the textures, we'll get to those in a later tutorial, is by going to the brush and then objects, and then you have a list of different things that you can add. For the SDK, it's more common to I guess create your own objects. That's what it's meant for. So it's development, so I may go over that in a later tutorial, but at the time being, let's just go over how to place them and the different tools that you can have to place them. Well, let's go to props, or actually library props. Wrong again. Let's go to a vehicle and find a tractor. There we go. A tractor will work just fine. Now we have a few options. You have the move tool, rotate tool, and select and scale tool over here. Then you have your axes. I'm going to click it to place it. It'll show on the map. But I'm going to go to the move tool and drag it above the ground. Some things have their origins in the middle of the object, so you need to be careful about that. And let's turn off the grid really quick, which we'll go over in just a second. And there we go. Now there are different tools. Here you can see that whenever I click on these different areas, there will be different things that pop up. For example, up here, when I click on the Z axis pops up. So you can select them from this place up here to be very specific about your movement. You can also select X, Y, and it'll drag it on a flat plane. Then I'm going to use Control C to copy it, and I'll select this option, which is Follow Terrain. And I'll go over to the very edge of the map, and you'll see that as I drag it along, it follows the terrain. The button next to it is Follow Terrain and Snap to Objects. Now this works with all of the objects in the level, so if you're trying to place like boxes on top of a building or something, I don't know, it will stay on top of the object. It won't just follow the terrain. So if we can place it by clicking, and there we go. The next thing we have is the snap to grid. Now snap to grid is really useful when you're trying to build precise buildings and whatnot with solids or something for blocking out. So here you can see that it's snapping to these grid points. And if I change the grid size to about, let's say 32, you'll see that how far it moves is a lot greater per snap. You can also decrease it down to a very, very minute size, and you can get very, very fine movements. If you want to disable it, click on the actual grid, and then that disables the grid. Pretty straightforward. Here we have the rotate tool. I'm going to get rid of this one right here. But here we have the rotate tool, and this allows you to rotate it. So for example, if I grab the Z axis and rotate it, it's going to rotate along the Z axis. If I grab the Y axis, it's going to rotate along the Y axis, and if I grab the X axis, it's going to rotate around the X axis. There's a feature here that is really useful. It's snap to angle. So if you're trying to get something very precise, you can set snap to angle. And right here, you can see that I had it set to 5. And if I set it to like 90 degrees, it'll rotate 90-degree increments, so everything will be straight and perfect. You can also drop it down to 30, 5, and 1, which is very detailed. You can also turn it off so that it doesn't affect your map creating, your level creating, or mod creating, or whatever you're trying to do. So here you can see that there's very little snap. Any snap that you see is just me with a mouse trying the best I can. The next tool I want to show you is the scale tool. Now you can see that when I select the scale tool up here, which is a box within a box kinda, I can grab the object and bring it up. So that's really all there is to it for this one. And I can show you how to unlock, because whenever you're working on it, you're going to notice that no matter where you grab it, the z-axis, the y-axis, or the x-axis, it's going to stay, the shape and the direction that it changes size is not going to change. So if you hit this little lock button down here and turn it off, let's see if I can turn it off. I guess I can't. Huh. But there are some versions where you can turn it off and it will allow you to grab like one of the axes and pull along that direction. Now take note that if you can do this, that the proxies and the collision meshes will not stay the same. So the collision mesh will stay the same size as far as I know. Well, from what I've tried before, it'll stay the same size as the previous model. So like for example, if you had the tractor head and if you scaled this out right here and it went out to over here and you walked anywhere in this area, you could just walk right through it. So be aware of that. And that's it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching. Killing for Money signing out.